Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm glad you're here to hang out for a bit. So grab a drink, get comfortable, and let's settle in for today's first story. Me, a 22-year-old female, with my boyfriend, a 24-year-old male, and his personal boundaries with his work girlfriend, a 21-year-old female. This is a throwaway account as I do not want this on my usual account. My boyfriend and I have been together for about 1.5 years now. We met at work, hit it off great, and are now living together. We work for the same company, but at different locations. We generally have a good relationship, with fights here and there like all couples, but we have been going through a bit of a rough patch lately due to finances from moving in and whatnot. Although, my problem lies within his work girlfriend. My company has several locations, and he is an assistant manager that floats from location to location whenever someone calls in sick, but he is based out of this particular store, and works 3 of his 5 days at this store. About a month ago, this girl transferred in from a different state into his base store. She works with him on the 3 days that he is at the store, so they see each other often and for long periods of time. Generally, it is usually just them two and an additional person working. They text each other sometimes, but it has been usually about work-related things. But lately, when I go on his messages, we are pretty lax about phones with each other. I see them talking about other things like hobbies and things of the like. It did not bother me because I understood that she was new to the state, and from what he told me, she did not really know anyone besides the co-workers at that store. Until I realized that he downloaded Snapchat and that she was his #1 best friend, and they were on an 8-day snapping streak. I know it sounds stupid, but I am a huge Snapchatter. I mostly only use Snapchat for social media, and I have been begging him for the longest time to download it, only to have him tell me that it was a waste of time. And then I see that he downloaded it for her. When I confronted him about it, he shrugged it off and said it was not that big of a deal. I did not want to push the issue because we have been going through a tougher time lately, and I did not want to make it worse than it already has been. I thought that I was being insecure because she is honestly stunning, so maybe it was a bit of jealousy behind it. Today, I saw her name pop up on his phone, and when I opened the message, I saw that he agreed to pick her up from the airport on Sunday. We made plans to go to my family's party on Sunday, which is about 1.5 hours away from the airport. He said he was planning to leave my family's party early, so he could pick her up and they could hang out afterwards. When I asked him about it, he said, once again, that he did not think it was that big of a deal because she has no romantic interest in him, and that he was being nice by hanging out with her because she is new, and that I was overreacting. I am livid. Am I in the wrong here? Too long, didn't read. Boyfriend has been hanging out with a girl from work, downloaded Snapchat for her, and did not for me when I asked, and is going to ditch my family's party to pick her up from the airport. He says he is just being nice. Am I overreacting? Update 1, 2 weeks later. First off, I want to say thank you to everyone who read and commented on the post. I read all of them even if I did not reply. I have been really busy since I posted that, so I did not have time to update, but some of you guys private messaged me for an update. I sat down with my boyfriend the morning after I posted that and asked him about his relationship with his coworker and how I felt like he was not being friendly with her but overly flirtatious. I told him it was weird and suspicious, and that I saw his texts about him picking her up, and it did not sit well with me at all, especially since he never planned on telling me, and that he was going to leave my family's event early. He looked annoyed but eventually admitted to me that he developed a crush on her because she was the opposite of me and was fun and easy to talk to, and I was not. Also, that she put effort into her appearance and I did not. I admit that I got really upset after this and refused to talk to him, so I left and went to my best friend's house after that for the night. He did not even text or call. My best friend and her boyfriend were freaking amazing. They ordered some wings, told me that they never really liked him because he always seemed lukewarm to me like I was just a friend, and watched some Hulu with me. I remember when I was younger, my mom had gotten out of a really bad relationship and told me to never settle for someone who did not look at me like I put the stars in the sky. Seeing how awesome and amazing my best friend's boyfriend was to me, even when he could have easily left, and how they were to each other just made me realize I was better off single than to be with someone who would rather put more effort into a crush than into a 1.5-year live-in relationship. In the morning, I went back and he was sitting on the couch. He asked if I was feeling better and if I still needed more space. I told him that I wanted to break up and that I would be moving out soon. I said that I would pay for my half of next month's rent. He did not even look fazed. He just nodded and got up to leave. I was trying my absolute hardest to be stoic about it, but it kind of failed after I saw how nonchalant he was. I do not know if he went to pick her up or not, but I went to my family's event and tried to have a good time even with all of the questions about where he was. I have been packing and moving back in with my parents during the times I know he is at work. We have not even talked since, besides to talk about financial stuff and housing situations. I have been fighting the urge to really cuss him out and just to ask why he seems so neutral about this when I have really been a huge wreck, but I have always been a firm believer that living well is the best revenge. I have been trying to keep busy to keep my mind off of it, but it sucks a lot sometimes, especially at night. Sorry if this dragged on, it just felt good to write it all out. Too long, didn't read. He admitted he had a crush on her, compared me to her. I woke up and smelled the flowers and dumped him, and I am in the process of moving out. Final update, 3 days after last update. I really was not planning on updating at all after that last post, but I had to update. I mentioned in the first post that my ex was a floater for our company. Floaters are very common in our company because we have a lot of stores. It turns out that his work girlfriend became one as well, and while I was working, she came in and filled a shift of one of my coworkers. At first, I was planning on just ignoring her except for work-related things because I figured from her reaction to me, I did not think she recognized me or even knew who I was, and I did not want a confrontation by asking her. But it got slow, and we started talking. We were asking general questions about each other, and I mentioned that I had dated Corey, not his real name, and he had worked at her Bay store. She looked genuinely shocked. She mentioned to me that she had no idea that he had a girlfriend, but that he only had a roommate that worked for the same company, and whenever he referred to my name, she assumed he was referring to the roommate. I did not get the feeling at all that she would be lying to me about this, and if she is, she should be acting. I was so pissed that I ended up just telling her what was going on and why we broke up. I told her about the Snapchat thing, and she apologized because she did not know he was not that into Snapchat. She showed me her best friend's list, and he was not even on her list, but there was that face where you are on someone's best friend's list, but they are not yours next to his name. Also, she said she asks for everyone's Snapchat because she prefers snaps over everything, and if they do not have one, she tells them to download it. She had like a score of 30,000 or something equally as large. I told her about the airport thing and how he handled it, and she apologized and said she would not have asked someone's boyfriend had she known he was dating someone. Get this. The only reason she asked my boyfriend was because the guy that she was talking to was out of town. She never mentioned that she was dating anyone to him because she does not like to talk about her love life that much. But she ended up just asking one of the other coworkers to pick her up. She also mentioned that the reason she became a floater was because another one of the assistant managers at her Bay store was getting too flirty with her, and she did not like it. She started going off about how she hated guys like Corey, and how he would do that to me. She thought he was just being nice to her since he was one of the first people she met since she moved. I can see how she would mistake his flirting as niceness now that I think about it, since he sucked at flirting. From my impression of her, I could tell how Corey would take her friendliness as flirting. She was really nice and friendly. I did not hold any resentment towards her before, but I definitely do not now. Oh, and she is a girl's girl. I am almost moved out, and I feel a lot better about my decision, and with the breakup after meeting his work girlfriend. I still have not talked to him at all. Too long, didn't read. Randomly worked with my ex's work girlfriend. She told me he lied and told her that I was his roommate. Turns out she is already dating someone else. I am almost moved out. Well, that was a wake-up call. It turns out the work girlfriend was actually a girl's girl who had no idea she was being used. Now, let's move on to story 2. My ex demanded me for child support for a kid that is not mine. My mother and sister are on their side. Some years ago, I dated a girl. The relationship was bad. She was very controlling and abusive. It ended up really bad and we broke up. I kept going on with my life, and after some years I got a decent job, enough to solve all my needs, have a comfortable life, and make some savings. The thing is, a couple of months after getting my job, my ex contacted me. She first asked me to talk. I believe that she may want to reconnect or something, but she showed up with a 5-year-old child, claiming he was my son and demanding child support. I did not believe her, but the child's age matched the time since we cut contact. I got advice from a lawyer, a friend of mine, to try to solve this out of court. I offered to take responsibility, pay all the costs, and be an active part of the kid's life, only after taking a DNA test. Everyone was okay with this except for my ex. She acted offended and demanded to just give her the money she deserved. She used all the excuses she could, and even contacted my family to tell them I was trying to avoid taking responsibility for her child. When she ran out of excuses and the DNA test was finally made, surprise, I am not the father. She was so mad at the result and cried about the money, saying it was unfair and she deserved it. But she did not accomplish anything. Moving on to last week, there was a little party at my parents' house. My brother, a friend, and I were talking, and my brother started to joke about the situation with my ex. My friend and I started to joke about it too. Some of our comments were a little dark and bad, but we were far away from the rest of the people. Literally, we were on the opposite side of the house, and nobody else could hear us. At least, that was what we thought. We were laughing like crazy when my sister appeared, very angry, and pushed me against the wall. She spied on us and heard our conversation, and she was really mad. She started to yell at us about how horrible people we were for mocking a poor woman. A few hours later, when the party ended, she asked me to go to the kitchen with our parents, and she started to say how awful I was for the previous situation. Apparently my ex had been in contact with her, and she believed her version, and that was her way of having an intervention. My brother and I were like, "Are you serious?" when she started to say how I forced my ex into being a single mother, and that I have the moral obligation to help her. My dad only said that we maybe were being too cruel making jokes about her, but that I was not responsible for that kid. My mom then surprised all of us when she said, "Even if the kid is not yours, you are making more than enough money to support that child. You should have helped her." Since then, I have been receiving texts. My dad and my brother are on my side, saying I am not responsible for her, but my sister is telling me how horrible I am for ruining their lives. My mom only said, "It is your decision and I respect it. I am just very disappointed that you ended up being so selfish. I am aware that she does not deserve my money, and I am not planning to give her any, but the constant harassment of my sister trying to guilt me is just exhausting. Update. Hi everyone, and sorry for the lack of news. Last weeks have been crazy with a lot of stuff, but I think now is a good moment to update you all. First of all, I am not allowed to talk a lot about the lawsuit. The most I can share with you is that my ex was extremely freaked out when she knew about it. She is now begging to drop it. She offered to take back everything she said, to never bother or even contact me again. She even tried to guilt me, saying that I would be ruining her and her son's life, but honestly I do not care. I got tired of being the good guy a long time ago. She messed with me, now I am fighting back. And for my sister, the lawsuit at first only made her worse. As her attempt to shame me and my job did not work as well as she wanted, she moved it to social media, spreading her BS about me abandoning my child, or not taking responsibility, and exposing my legal actions like acts of censorship and misogyny. But at the end, that will be worse for her, not only because I can dismiss her defamation easily, but also it is more evidence in our favor. Anyways, this is going to be a long road, and we are just beginning. Recently, we had a posada at my parents' home. Every year we use this excuse to make a big family party before Christmas. I had my doubts because I did not want to be near my sister, but after some relatives assured me that she would not be there, I decided to go. Big mistake, she was there. Mom decided that, despite everything that happened, I was taking all this too far, so she wanted all of us to meet to solve this problem as a family. I tried to get out of there the moment I realized what she intended, but some relatives tried to stop me while my mom cried that I needed to stop, that I was tearing apart the family and needed to learn to forgive and let go. I realized that, despite everything, even knowing I was telling the truth, she was still on my sister's side. I got out of there, telling her that I am not attending any family event again if she is there, and to not ever think about trying this BS again. At this point, almost all my family knows what she did. Some of them think my sister is crazy. Some others think she is crazy, but I am taking it too far. A couple of days ago, Mom invited me to spend Christmas with them. I did not want to go after what she did, but I decided to give her a chance after she swore that would not happen again. But not only had she planned to do it again, my brother warned me that this time she intended to lock me in until I forgive my sister and stop the nonsense. I called my mom and told her I knew, and that I was done with her and my sister. I told her not to talk to me until she realized she supported the wrong person, and to apologize. I do not need to say how many times she tried to call me the following hours, and all the drama she made when I did not show up for Christmas, but again, I am tired of being the good guy. So, that is it for the moment. Hope all of you had a nice Christmas, and I wish you a happy and drama-free New Year. Update. Hi to all that are still here. It has been a while, more than a year, and I think now is a good time to give an update about everything that happened with my life during the last year. Lots of things happened. Lots of things have changed. Number 1, the lawsuit. To be short, I won. We did not get into a trial. It all got solved in conciliation meetings. My lawyer's strategy was to add all the things we could think of, from the harassment and the defamation to the attempts to put my job at risk, parental fraud, everything. The idea was to scare the heck out of them, and if that did not work, there would be lots of charges against my ex and my sister. My sister kept calling it a bluff and kept posting all her BS on social media, a thing she regrets now, as every single word she posted against me came back to bite her ass when it was used as proof. My ex took back everything she said, asking for my forgiveness after seeing that she would lose a lot, so she ended up accepting to compensate the damages off court, and left my sister alone in a battle she started. When my sister realized how big things really were, that she was alone now, and she would lose, she freaked out. She deleted every single post she did and tried to pretend she never did what she did. But at that point, we had all the backups, screenshots, and recordings we needed. At the last conciliation meeting, she broke down crying, begging me to forgive her and to not do this to her. But she did this to herself. She had multiple chances to stop, but she kept pushing and ended up facing the consequences of her own stupidity. She had to pay me a good amount, plus all the legal costs. My mother helped her to pay, but now she has a considerable debt as my dad demanded her to pay them back over time. For a few months, she resented me for what I did, but we ended up talking and getting back on good terms. Our relationship is damaged but healing. She confessed to me that, at the beginning, she felt she was fighting for a good reason, for a cause she believed in, to defend a poor woman in need. She believed she was doing the right thing, so she was sure she had to win in the end. Those ideas were supported by her friends. As she said, those girls were encouraging her to fight, to face me, and make me fulfill my obligations. That she was fighting in the name of other women, and those ideas kept in her mind until things got too real, when she saw there was no way she would win. Then all those girls disappeared, my ex left her alone, and all the ones who gave her support wished her luck and went away. So she had no other choice but to surrender. So, that is how things ended with them. And for the ones who suspected, no, my sister and my ex were not in a relationship. I do not know where my ex is, and I do not care. She paid and disappeared, and I hope to never see her again. Some people had told me I went too far with her. Even some called me a monster for ruining a single mother who already was in trouble. And some had said, I am not loyal to my family, for taking this issue so far instead of solving it inside the family. At this point, I do not care anymore. Number 2, my mother. For the month the conciliation lasted, my mom went on my sister's side. Multiple times she tried to convince me to stop, from asking me to just let it go, to trying to guilt me for everything she could think of. She even threatened to disown me, saying she would not see me as a son anymore and to separate me from the family. But in the end she couldn't, and she was, and still is, resentful. For all those months, and after all was over, I kept asking myself why she does this. Why she just kept treating me like this, putting herself on everyone's side except mine. So, after reading multiple people saying to do this, I finally got to do. Number 3, the DNA test. After talking about it with my brother and dad, all agreed it was too rare that my mom acted like this. Because of everything my mom said and implied, my dad had more and more doubts, to the point he was sure she did something. After some beers, a very hard talk, some tears, and the promise that, no matter what the results say, to me and my brother he will always be our dad, we took the DNA test. Both of us are his sons. My dad was so relieved, but then very embarrassed for having doubts of his wife's loyalty. He felt very ashamed, so we ended up agreeing to apologize to her for what we did. As I started the talk of the DNA test, I asked to be the first to talk and apologize to her. That night all of us gathered at my dad's house. We sat around the table and I started by recognizing all the fights and tension we had over the months and apologizing for it because, after all, she is my mother, but her behavior made us all wonder and have lots of doubts about why she was being like this. So I suggested we all go take a DNA test. Right after saying that, my mom went livid. Half a second later her face went red. She got up from the chair and threw herself at me, pulling my hair, scratching and hitting me, screaming, "Why you did this? I hate you. You had no right." My father and my brother separated her from me, and she immediately started to ask for forgiveness from my dad. My dad was surprised and furious when he told her that I was about to apologize to her because the results said we were his sons. Her face was a mix of fear and desperation. Her reaction told us everything. I never saw my dad so angry. She confessed that long ago she had an affair for a long time, until she got pregnant with me. She never knew if she got pregnant by my dad or by her lover, as they rarely use condoms, and she multiple times let him finish inside. All these years she had the doubt about who was my real father, and she pretended to take this secret to the grave. But now, she exposed herself. And now all made sense. That was the reason she always treated me like this. That is why she always put everyone else's word before mine. Dad threw her out that night. And in very little time, all the family knew about it. We warned them in case she tried to tell any lies, a thing that she hated because she called us saying, "We had no right to say anything, that she is our mother, and we can't say anything against her." Number 4. The aftermath. So, to conclude this craziness, I want a good amount of money. My brother is still my best friend. My relationship with my sister is damaged, but healing, and she's separated from her toxic and misandric friends. My ex is gone. I hope forever this time. Dad is hurt, and Mom revealed herself to be a cheater, but they are not divorcing. She is back at my dad's home, but he has not forgiven her, and from what he said, he never will, but he does not want to go through a divorce or give her anything he has worked for. In his words, they are married, but they are not a couple, and she now is trying to earn my dad's forgiveness. And of course, my mom now openly hates me, because to her, I am the cause of all her problems. In her words, "If you had done what I said, and took charge of the kid, none of this would have happened. I hope you are happy now." And that is it. Sorry for the wall of text. Hope you all had a good 2023 and also wish you a good 2024. I will keep working, saving, and trying to build a life away from this madness. I will probably cut contact with my mom, but I do not care at this point anymore. Relevant comments. Stray's mom said, "Your mom now openly hates you, because to her, you are the cause of all her problems. She says if you had done what she said and took charge of the kid, none of this would have happened. It sounds like your mom had such a guilty conscience that she treated you like dirt all of your life. Not that having that information makes any of her actions okay. Now she is blaming you for sticking up for yourself and bringing about her downfall. She did that all on her own. No contact would be best. I am not sure if you should ever trust your sister again. Though one can hope that she learned her lesson about believing people's BS. Watch your back," Arisa Lee said. "It's not a guilty conscience. She lacks self-awareness. She lived her life until now blaming her youngest son as if he made her have an affair. She acts like the problem is his existence and not that she's a cheater. It's too bad his dad isn't divorcing her, though I understand his reasoning." The original poster replied, "Thanks. Unfortunately, all this BS has made me more cynical, and I do not trust women now. So I am watching my back all the time." Kimmy95 said, "Phew, what a wild ride for you. I am so sorry that you had to go through that, and I am glad it's over now. I hope the rest of your year continues to get better." The author replied, "Thanks. Yes, it was a wild year." And that brings us to the end of today's stories. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed these stories, please like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. I'll see you in the next one.